Over the next couple of minutes, I'm going to explain to you why Mary and Joseph had no parental rights with respect to Jesus. Now, that may sound spurious, but I'm going to use the logic applied by many Christians, and particularly Christian legal and policy advocates, to legislation prohibiting medical interventions for gender-confused minors. The argument that is made in these bills, often dubbed Help Not Harm legislation, was well expressed by the Republican leader in the Tennessee House, William Lamberth, a Christian and lawyer, when in defense of prohibiting pharmaceutical interventions for minors, he made the following statement. Watchful waiting is the option recommended by many scientific agencies. It means deferring transgender interventions for gender-confused children or youth for an extended time, during which counseling can occur and natural desistance or persistence processes can play out. All we're talking about here is waiting till you're 18 to make life-altering decisions. Now that sounds really good. It sounds like we're here to protect children. But think about what he's just said. First of all, he has in essence conceded that transgender ideology, a transgender anthropology, is an appropriate and lawful choice once you turn 18. All we want to do is make sure that the minor can make that choice on or after the age of 18 without regret regarding previous decisions. But the sum and substance of the argument is rooted in science and biology. That what it means to be male and female is strictly a matter of biology. But is that really true? Is that the sum and substance of what it means to be male and female? But if it is, then that would help us also understand why we think of parental rights as tied to biology, natural procreation. You have parental rights because you have conceived and born a child. But if that's the logic for understanding what it means to be male and female, and we extend that to what it means to be a parent, then Mary and Joseph could not have had parental rights with respect to Jesus. They contributed no genetic material to the human nature of Jesus, because if they had, then Jesus would have been subject to the same sentence of death that passed upon all man after Adam's fall. That's in Romans 5, verse 12. He would have been born in iniquity and conceived in sin, as David said in Psalm 51. And it would have been contrary to the notion that it's appointed once to man to die. He had to die if he was a descendant of Adam. Therefore, he could not have voluntarily offered himself to God as a sacrifice on our behalf. His death would have been his death alone. Therefore, Jesus did not and could not have been made of any genetic material from Mary and Joseph. He was implanted in her womb by the Holy Spirit. But if that's the case, using the arguments I've just made, then Mary and Joseph could have had no parental rights because they had no biological connection to Jesus. And maybe that explains why he felt he was at liberty to stay behind in the temple when he was 12 and leave his parents hanging and wondering where in the world he was. And maybe that explains why it says they didn't understand what he said in response to why he had stayed behind, because perhaps they thought they had parental rights and didn't realize that, oh my goodness, we don't have any genetic connection to Jesus from which those rights could spring. In the next episode, I'm going to explain why that logical thinking is faulty, and it'll also help explain why the Christian approach to transgenderism lacks much in the sense of a true, sound biblical anthropology. Thanks for listening.